Hello and welcome to step 9 of stage 2. So we need to open our file. Step 9, open. Now within this stage we're going to teach you some masking regions, some filled regions, some repeating details and detail components. Now in the last video I showed you how to do some 2D lines over some sections. And I also reiterated that this is not BIM and that this is pretty much 2D drawing, aka AutoCAD over a model, which is not BIM in itself. To explain this further, I have given you a couple of examples of what the LOD process is within a BIM model. LOD stands for level of detail, and then you will see on my screen that we have LOD 200, LOD 300, LOD 350 and LOD 400. At present we have pretty much modelled everything to LOD 300, which you will notice is an architectural model. Eventually within a BIM project you will pass this model over to a structural engineer or MEP consultant and they will add their individual elements. So you will see here that the structural engineer has added some reinforcement bars and some movement joints, etc. Eventually, when the project progresses, a model will hit LOD 400, and everything that you currently see in this example is pretty much families. When you go back to LOD 300, this is pretty much a system family, which is native to Revit. So this is where you will place your doors and windows within a hosted family, but eventually over time all of those system families will be replaced by individual family components. To reiterate this in further detail, you'll see on this slide a terrace with a balustrade balcony detail. Everything that you see in here apart from one thing is all modelled. For example, you will see that we have paving pads holding particular pavers, we have the insulation, we have asphalt, we have the concrete slab and we have the ceiling underneath it. And we can see here that this section is taken from here, but this section also relates to this and is also available as a blow up in 3D. Everything that you see apart from one thing in this model is 2D. The 2D elements are these two nuts and bolts that currently hold the balustrade. Sometimes you would add these things purely because you cannot be bothered to do millions of bolts to show how the balustrade is actually fixed to the concrete. Okay, so moving back within the Revit file, what we're going to do is we're going to do a mask region over this insulation. To do that, we go to the Annotate tab. We go along to the Details section, and under Region, we have an option on the pull-down menu for Masking Regions. Select this tool. The user interface will change green. I would like you to select the Rectangle tool, and pretty much I would like you to cover the current insulation that we have in this drawing. Once you've done that, press the green tick. If you're finding it hard to find particular points, remember that if you press TL for thin lines, it becomes easier to select particular points. Okay, from here I'd like you to go back up to the Annotate tab and choose the Insulation tool, which is under Detail section. Select that, and then over in your Properties palette I would like you to change this to 0.04. and then go into your detail area, select the midpoint, click once, and then go all the way over to the other end, and somewhere outside of the crop region, click here. Once you've done that, press escape twice. Now it is important to remember that these 2D details that you've placed on your drawing are not fixed in place if you were to move the floor up or down. So at the moment our level 2 is set to 0, which is correct, but if we were to move it up to 0.1, you will see exactly our problem. The insulation and the moisture barrier have not moved. So I'd like you to press Ctrl Z to undo that, so that your floor moves back down to where it was. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to show a movement joint here. So going back up to your Annotate tab, this time under Region, we're going to choose Filled Region. The user interface will change. I'd like you to select the rectangle tool and pretty much draw a rectangle from here to here, and then press the green tick. Then I'd like you to keep the filled region highlighted and go over to your properties palette and press edit type. So a new window will open, which is your type properties, and at the very top where it says type, where it currently says vertical, select this and choose solid black. And what we can do is we can change the filled pattern to solid fill, press OK, and if you would like, you can do the foreground pattern as a dark grey, even though it says solid black, but this is just to show you. And then press OK. Once you've done that, press in negative space and you'll see exactly what we've done. Now you can actually manipulate this. As soon as you select it, you get your pull handles, so you can bring it down to the bottom. And you'll notice that our insulation is currently in front, so we can select it again, and at the very top we can bring to front with this button here. And if you press in negative space, you'll notice that the drawing lines are now behind our mask region. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to show the joints in the timber flooring. So within the Annotate tab, under the Details section, you'll see a little button that says Component. I'd like you to select that, and you should already have selected M-Wood strip flooring in your Properties palette. So if you hover over, you'll notice that we have tongue and groove joints. So the best thing to do is most probably place it about here. And then what we'll do is we'll just align it. So we go to the Align tool and we'll select the edge of our masking region and then the edge of the timber slat. Then we press the Escape key twice. And if we select this timber flooring, we can actually copy it multiple times. So with it still highlighted and the user interface green, if we go to the Copy tool and then tick multiple in the options bar, and if we select the top corner and then copy, copy and copy, so there's 4, so press Escape twice to finish that. Now one thing about individual components is that you can take dimensions from them. So if we go to the Dimension tool in the Modify tab, we can actually select individual lengths of dimensions. You'll notice that it's at 0 because of the project units. So if I change that, so we go to the Manage tab, Project Units, change the length from meters to millimeters, then press OK and then OK again, you'll notice that we have 100 width individual timber slats. So that's one way of doing it. What I would like you to do is to delete those detailed components and the dimensions and press delete. So to do a repeating detail, if we go back up to our Annotate tab, and if we go to the pull down menu on the component, you'll see an option that says repeating detail component. Select that, the user interface will turn green. If we go over to our properties palette and click edit type, you'll see here that the current detail is brick UK standard. We don't want that, so we want to change it. So we'll scroll down to M-Wood strip flooring section 10 by 100, so it's exactly the same detail. Once you've done that, I would like you to duplicate the file and change it to M-Wood. Press OK. I would like you to then change the fixed distance to fill available space, and I want you to change the detail rotation to 90 counterclockwise. Once you've done all that, press OK, and then you simply click here and then drag your mouse all the way to the other end until it's about here, and you'll notice that it's automatically aligned everything accordingly, but there is actually a little gap. To finish the command, press Escape twice. Now the reason why there's a little gap between the actual timber slats is because Revit recognises from the beginning of a family to the end of a family. You can actually change this in the family itself, But the reason why I wanted to show you this is that it's not great detailing and it's not recommended that you do this. Additionally, if I was to show you how to measure and annotate this, if I take this edge, you will notice that I'm not able to take a dimension from another edge because it's a repeating detail. You can see here nothing is highlighting for me to actually take an individual measurement. This is the bad thing about Revit, and again this just backs up the fact that you really shouldn't be doing this in a BIM model. So the next thing we're going to do is add a detail component over this window. So what we do is we go back up to the Annotate tab and we go to Component and we go back to Detail Component. What we want to do is we want to load a family at the very top. A new window will open, which is our project file related families, and you'll see here detail items. I want you to enter into this, and then I want you to go to Windows, Doors and Stairs. Then I want you to go to Windows, and I would like you to choose near the bottom, I would like you to choose Detail Items, Wood Projecting, Win Jam section. Once you've found that, press Open. You'll notice that the window detail has come in. Once the detail component has loaded, I'd like you to click here and then press Escape twice. I would like you to then select the window detail that you brought in, and you'll notice that we have little arrows. So we want to flip it so it's relative to actually the section what we're doing. And then I would like you to use the Move tool and pretty much place it here. And then I would like you to move it slightly up to here, so it's sitting directly on the seal detail. With it still highlighted, you can actually get the pull handles and pull the detail up where the glass goes slightly out. Once you've done that, I'd like you to press a negative space so nothing is selected. So as you can see, this window jam doesn't look exactly right, so we can actually change that. So if we press in negative space and then go back to the component under the Annotate tab, and if we load another family and go down to pretty much the same area and choose Wood Projection Window Sill section and press Open, we've loaded another family. So if we click this in negative space and then press Escape twice, we have the option to change these details. So because we've got two loaded, I can select this one, go up to the Properties Palette selector and choose the one above, and you'll notice it will change. And you can do that with any particular item that you pull in. So as this window detail doesn't look particularly right, if we select it and then choose the sill section, we may have to move it back down again. So the detail is better, and by selecting it again we have the pull handles to pull it up. And if we delete what we've brought in here, you'll notice that the detail's a little bit better. Now, as there are many lines in this particular detail, if we select the actual window and then right click and go up to Hide in View and Hide Element, we will then be left with just our detail component. We now have to redraw the window sill. So to do that, I'd like you to go back up to the Annotate tab and then choose the Filled Region. Use the Rectangle tool. Draw a rectangle from here to here, and maybe pull out the ends so there's a bit of a nosing detail at the end. Once you've done that, I'd like you to press the green tick. With it still highlighted, if we go up to the Edit Type under Properties and change the pattern fill to Wood number 2 and press OK and then press Apply, you will see that the wood detailing has been shown. You could even go back and change it to another wood detail, to wood number 1, press OK and Apply, and you'll see the differences. Press OK. And once you've done that, I'd like you to press a negative space so nothing is selected. again, just to make the point that these drawings, these 2D components have nothing related to the model. So if we go down to our graphic options bar at the bottom and select the light bulb tool, so everything goes red, you'll notice that we've hidden and we can find our window. If we unhide this and then press the light bulb tool again, if I was to move this sill up of the existing window, so if at the moment in my properties palette it says that the window sill is 975, for argument's sake, if I just put this at 500 and bring it down, you'll see our problem. Our detailing has not moved. We can lock the detailing to the window. So with the align tool, if we select here and then here, we can actually lock the rectangles to it. So just to tighten this up a little bit more, if I bring this slightly below the line and then do the align tool to our filled region and then lock it, if I select my window again and put it back up to 950, you'll notice that the filled region moves with our window. But again, this is not correct modeling, and it's highly advised that you don't do this. Okay, so that concludes this part of the session. I'd like you to call out section 1 and do not save.